pour yourself a pint, cozy up, and get ready for another episode of Beer, Bros, and BS.
This is Jay Muse. This is Eddie McClintock from Warehouse 13. Hey, this is Brian Holland. This is Brett Dahl.
Hey, this is Eddie Trunk, and you're listening to Beer Bros and BS.
Beers, Bros, BS. Beer Bros and BS.
Beer Bros and BS.
You should be listening to Beer Bros and BS every day, every minute for the rest of your lives. Snooch to the nooch!
Welcome to a very special episode of Beer Bros and BS. I'm Dave the Big Librarian. This is episode 120.
Jose. This is Tony.
You got Alex, the king of Alapata, back in full effect.
Wow, welcome back. And that's not it. We also have another special guest here.
Hello, people. This is Mr. Burger Beast from Westchester.
So this is the first time we are recording in not a brewery, not a craft beer bar, not in any location that sells beer. Where are we, guys?
We're in a museum.
What kind of museum?
The Burger Museum.
The burger. Museum.
Everywhere, but it's not only burgers, there's also other stuff and snacks, historical snacks around here.
So before we get started, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
I feel like I'm in third grade right now. And I'm about to pee my pants. So, yeah, I have a blog called The Burger Beast. It started in September 2008 from Westchester. Beautiful Westchester, suburb of Miami. I produce food events here in Miami. I used to do a lot of food truck events. I recently wrote a book called All About the Burger. I also own a museum we're sitting in called the Burger Museum. It's a historical museum located at Magic City Casino. And some of the food events I produce, which do have craft beer at them, I produce events like Hamburger House Party and Croqueta Palooza.
Which is coming up, right?
Yeah. Croqueta Palooza is November 1st.
I have to say, I've been to a few of the Burger Beast events, and they are hands down the best value for the money. You have to get carded out of there for sure.
I did go to Croqueta Palooza last year, I think, and I ate myself stupid with croquetas, and
you sweat?
Yeah, I had like a food coma for a good 24 hours. So it was a good time.
Well, is this why you had croquetas at your wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
That's always a good move. I mean, there should be croquetas at everything.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with croquetas.
So, before we can get really into it, had 119 episodes to get to know us, but we need to know a little more about you. So, what would you say is your favorite style of beer?
Yeah, you're asking me.
Okay, what's your current style then?
My current style. I tell you what, I absolutely do not care for IPAs.
Okay.
I think I play favorite if you serve me an IPA, I cannot. Yeah, I just cannot do it. I don't know why.
And
right. Not for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, what would...
There's only one of them in here.
For you, we brought one.
If you were stuck on a deserted island for 1 year, you had all supplies, preparation, shelter, but you were going to be just by yourself, what would be the one beer that you'd bring with you?
What would be the one beer? I'm fearful that if I say what I'm really thinking, you guys may just assassinate me.
No.
What if I told you Budweiser? What would happen?
Get out.
That's it. Get the knife, guys.
I was kidding about
like
that.
Pilsner?
The king of beers.
No, man. I drink craft beer, and what happens is I try a lot of different craft beers everywhere I go. So I don't necessarily always get the same thing. Like if I see they have Funky Buddha or J. Wakefield, like the people I'm more familiar with, I just get... Or I see something like La Rubia or something I recognize by name I get. So it's kind of difficult for me to say something like that because it wouldn't be an honest answer. I'd be just saying something that came to the top of my head. So I can't really say that.
Okay. So this is the final question then. It's the hardest one. It's going to tell us a lot about your soul.
Oh, my God.
Who'd win in a fight? All out. They had a month to prepare. Captain America, Iron Man. To the death.
To the death?
Yeah, and they had a month to plan that.
I think Captain America will win.
I think that's number 3.
Yeah, I think the third person to say
Interesting.
Captain America.
Third or fourth.
And it's all been fairly recent, too.
Yeah, I'd say the first few years of the show, everyone was like, Iron Man hands down. Why do you think Captain America?
Strategy. I think he's a better strategist. I used to read comics, not to date myself, in the 80s. I started reading in the late 70s. And so I I just remember really liking Captain America. I mean, I never really had a thing for Iron Man. And now the films are kind of like put an almost twist on it and made Iron Man, everyone loves Iron Man all of a sudden. But if you were a comic fan in the 80s, you weren't. I mean, it was kind of hard for me to find someone who was a fan of Iron Man.
They said that women were always a fan. That's
Really?
they got Marvel got tons of letters of women, and they thought that was odd because he was such a womanizer in the comics. So
I remember also like the Hawkeye's miniseries, which was like I think a 4-part. And then when I look back on it, I'm like, what could I have seen as a kid in Hawkeye? But and like X-Men kind of like went over my head when I was a kid. I was Spider-Man guy,
a lot of people were. Okay, so let's get into the first beer then. If you don't want to drink this one, it's an IPA.
I'll try it.
Jose's got
Jose's got to read the
Yeah.
beers.
So here's the lineup for today. Wish me luck, guys.
Best of luck, Jose.
Flavor Town,
Easy enough.
Flavor Town.
New England IPA, live beer, keep cold, Eagle Park. Hey, I just got it by mail, okay? King Swirly, the IV. King Swirly's IV. King Harbor Brewing Company.
At least he didn't say.
After the show,
King,
I'll explain the concept of Roman numerals to you.
at least he didn't say King Swirly. If
Early Bird Special by Aardwolf. And Lechita de Dragon, Raspberry Hibiscus.
also known as Dragon's Milk. So, what you tell us about that first one then, since you brought it?
Okay, so this was from our good friends from Wisconsin. It's from Eagle Park. It's a brewery that we visited over. It's very close to our brewery where my wife was nominated the Bung Queen of the day. They do like
What
a little
queen?
Bung Queen, like
Bun cakes.
no the bung of the keg, yeah, of a cask.
Like the bunghole?
So the
You should say
what you do is that you get
Like
to tap a cask. What you do is that you get the keystone, and you hit it with a bung mallet to take out the bung.
The bung goes into the cask.
Yes,
So Sonia's the bung queen.
she is the bung queen. She even has a ribbon
But
that
the
says
cask,
bung queen.
but the hole, would you then call it the bunghole?
It is a
Yes,
bunghole.
it
That's
is a
correct.
bunghole.
Yes, thank you. Very technical here.
So I decided to bring this one. It's Flavortown. It has the burger, the foodie guy.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah, well, it's appropriate since we're at the Burger Museum with
So,
Mr. Burger Beast.
Awesome. Nice.
Just the way Jose planned it all along.
Yeah, I know.
Making a mess everywhere.
That is nice. Not a fan.
So what do you say,
Pass.
Seth?
Yeah.
So not even the New England style wins you over. It's a little less hoppy, a little less bitter, more aromatic.
It is most definitely one of the better ones I've tried, but
So it's made with Citra and Mosaic hops, and it comes in at 8%.
Yep. So yeah, you get a lot of the Citra. It's very.
there's a nice
juicy.
design on the can. If I want to stay positive.
You can have the beer label. I usually do that and put it on.
So let me ask you guys, would you rather have a child of your own or a clone of yourself that grows up to be you? You have to have some type of offspring.
Oh, but the clone is like, you know,
It's going to look just like you.
but what's the age difference?
You are 42, you said?
Yes.
And your clone would be 1.
Like born today?
Day 1, yeah.
Ah, well.
Oh, so technically like Boba Fett, Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. At least I know, like, you know, the clone will be an asshole.
What's the
You
alternative?
said you don't know the clone will be an asshole?
Will not be an asshole.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sure. According to who? Or you have a, old-fashioned way child of your own.
Nah, I'd rather have a child of my own. It'll get kind of weird with Sonya, like seeing my child growing up, and
No, you already,
Weird how, Jose.
you already gave him the same name as you.
Wait a second.
Step further.
What would be the weird part?
he'd be me, but younger.
Are you
How much time
saying?
you been spending on Pornhub, bro?
Are you saying that you think your wife would find your cloned son attractive?
Well, I mean, it's only logical if she finds him attractive, right?
I'm sure it's not just his looks that she's into.
I mean, what's
Well, he has everything else too. I mean,
Good God.
I don't know. This could be like
Yeah,
the
I'm
kinkiest
gonna-
three-way of all time.
Oh my god!
oh god,
Would that be weird if
This
it
is
was your
super
clone?
weird. This is super weird. This is super weird, especially because it's a baby. You're talking about a goddamn baby.
Well,
he grows up. But
Well, in
yeah,
18
I mean,
years.
yeah, you wait like 8-10 years. It's fine.
sort of.
So
You're
you're
gonna have a regular kid
Not
to
really.
avoid this fucking ethical conundrum.
I'm still interested in this conversation. So you're into yourself? Is that what it is?
No, not that much. No, I wouldn't do that.
I would do a clone for sure. I want to outsmart myself. See if I would try making the same, doing the same mistakes, and see if I could outsmart myself. See, like, oh, look at this guy trying to be slick when he's a teenager.
I think there's so many opportunities for something like that. Okay. Would you rather have everybody speak to you like they're using a Ouija board, or like a toddler who can't understand words?
So what does that mean? Like somebody using a Ouija board?
They go letter by letter.
T
Oh
H.
God, that's
Oh,
super
God, no.
annoying.
Or do you want them to talk to you like this, Tony? Do you understand, Tony?
I don't mind that. I already get that all day.
Yeah, they're
anyway.
both super annoying. Yeah.
I'll do that one. I'll do the baby
Yeah.
talk.
I just impatient me, like I can't, and I hate when people start like saying K, like when they're not supposed to say anything, like BOOB. Like, come on, like so you don't have your child like listen to what you're saying. I think it's ridiculous.
Yes, he already knows about boobs, even if he doesn't know the word.
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty sure he does. But
And he's
Yeah,
going to know how to spell boo when he gets to school.
exactly.
He's gonna be in
Yeah,
trouble.
when he gets a calculator, he
80,085.
Yeah, I guess I have to go with the baby talk, even though that's super annoying because I just don't have that kind of time to wait for someone to spell out.
Okay. Would you rather get $1 million or be able to respawn at the age you wish?
Respawn. I have to die first?
No.
Like
You
an
just-
extra life.
I
you
only
say-
get one respawn?
Yeah.
But you go back in time, right? Or is it you just respawn?
No, you
as
just
shit?
respawn now.
You
Yeah, I
respond
take
like
that.
at the time of like right after you die,
At
but
the time of death, you revert to whatever age.
No, right now.
Right
Oh.
now.
Or you get $1 million.
it has to be right now.
Or you get $1 million.
Nah, man, I want to save my respawn. Or $1 million? I'll do $1 million.
yeah.
Nah, I take a respawn.
I do the respawn. Oh no.
Respawn.
Okay.
Get me back to.
No, I only want it if I'm like gonna live my full life and then respawn.
Dude, you can
What age?
respawn
You get
as
to
your
pick the
like
age you're-
16-year-old self, and you still have your driver's
Yeah.
license that says you're 30.
This is that whole clone thing coming back.
How's it-
He's gonna.
Can you respawn and then your clone brings you up?
Then you grow up with a brother.
Respawn to your clone age.
Oh yeah, and then you're like twins.
Okay.
Think of those adventures, Jose.
I'll be right back. Comes back in. It's not Jose.
It's like what's the movie, the magician movie where they do that? It's the twins.
Oh, it's
The
even
Pre- is that
where
the
it's like
Prestige?
Tesla.
Yeah, the Prestige.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
You guys ever heard of the ninja? You ever heard of the ninja? No.
I've heard of Ninja.
Like it's when you're having sex and then like you stop for a second and then somebody else comes in and starts having sex with the person and they don't know about it.
I thought that was called the old switcheroo.
That's the old switcheroo. Do you know?
I mean, I guess the lights have to be out, so like the person doesn't see it or whatever.
You know the Houdini?
You mean this? Wait a second. So the switcheroo, you're saying that both people are in on what's going on except for the person getting fucked, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Could I use that word, by the way? I didn't realize.
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I wasn't sure if I could have said that. I didn't know if it was the guy who goes, wait a second, I'm going to go to pee a second, and some other guy just sneaks in really quick, and I was hiding in the closet.
Yeah, exactly. The Houdini is when you're You're hitting it from the back, and then you spit on her back. And then when she turns around, you nut in her face.
Today's knowledge with the King of Alipata.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, if you've done the Houdini, tweet us and tell us how it went. All right.
Okay, since we're on money, would you rather get $10 million right now, but you always feel like you have flu symptoms, or $50 million, but you have to get a tattoo saying idiot on your forehead?
How long do I have to keep the tattoo for?
As long as you have the money.
I'll
And
take 50 million?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll tattoo idiot on my forehead.
You just buy like an island and disappear.
No, my beanie, I just always have to or like one of those Naruto, like, I don't know, I'll figure it
Always
out.
wear a headband.
Yeah,
Bring
headband.
the headband back.
Yeah. After I get the tattoo, then I'll like tattoo black all around it, and it'll be like hair.
Tokyo tattoo bangs on his head.
Would you rather be an Olympic gold medalist or a Nobel Prize winner?
I'll be a Nobel Prize winner.
Olympic gold medal. What event? Do I get to pick the event?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be on a gold medal winning basketball team.
So you could
It's,
dunk.
it's funny because I
Yeah.
thought he
Yeah.
was going to say that. That exact sport and that exact answer.
Because you want to be on a McDonald's cup.
Or you could be a karate Olympic gold medalist for this year, since it's in Japan. And they're introducing karate for this year.
Know where
I don't
Jose's
know.
head's at.
Yeah. I mean, aren't you already working towards that?
No.
Would you rather always? Oh, I'm sorry. Would you rather drink only water that has been microwaved, or only eat food that has stayed in the fridge until cold?
So cold food or microwave food?
Microwave water.
As in, you're drinking the water hot.
Let's say a minute in the
That's really
microwave.
hot.
It's not boiling yet.
A minute? A minute could make it boil, no?
Not in my microwave. I'd rather take cold food.
Yeah.
Cold food, hands down.
I would do cold food. I don't like hot.
There's a
liquids.
lot of good things that are cold, like you can have cold Twizzlers,
And
you can have cold,
why would we be forced to do this, by the way?
It's one or the other, or you bullet in the head.
you can have cold salad. I mean, it's
Salad for life. You can put anything on a salad.
Yeah.
Salads like pizza. You know,
You can put soup on a salad.
I
Good.
I
You
should
can put
have,
soup on
I
a
should
salad.
have the police officer remove you for saying salads like pizza.
Well, I mean, a pizza could be anything you want it to be. You can put anything on a pizza. You can put anything on a salad.
Could you put soup on a pizza?
you can put pineapple on a pizza.
You could do a soup pizza. Sure. You ever had what's the shit? Artichoke pizza. It's basically a bread bowl.
I thought you were going to say Chicago style.
No, that's
We would have accepted that as well.
Artichoke pizza. You hate yourself.
you had it.
No, I'm saying you hate yourself
Wow.
because you've had it.
Yeah. It was
Look, there's only pizza. Pizza, like dough, is made with flour and water. Any of those is shenanigans. I don't care. It's just like you said. Don't even get me started on. I know we're talking about a totally different topic, but like vegan this or there's no such thing as a turkey burger. That's all marketing terms to sell stuff. Come up with a name for your own dish.
I feel
a
the
burger,
same way.
A burger is ground beef. Sorry. Anything else is not a burger.
It's a turkey sandwich.
Yes. Turkey patty. I jumped into a table one time. I was at Swenson's, the ice cream shop, and they were discussing that at another table, and everyone was ganging up on this guy, and I had to jump in. And my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "It's ridiculous."
The shenanigans cannot stand.
And finally, would you rather spend 48 hours inside your favorite video game or win $1 million?
Win $1 million. 48 hours in my favorite video game might get me killed. 48 hours in my favorite video game might get me killed, so I take the $1 million.
Yeah, I'll take $1 million.
I don't want to be in burger time for 48 hours, so I don't take the million.
Yeah, being chased by hot dogs trying to kill you. What if your favorite game is like solitaire?
You'll be stuck playing solitaire for 48 hours. Just flipping the cards over.
For nothing. You don't get anything at the end of it.
No, he can be the one to push that first card, like in Microsoft when you
Yeah, and does a
little tile.
waterfall thing.
Yeah.
What about Castlevania, Simon's Quest, where it becomes night, and then there's nothing to do? And you're stuck there with nothing to do. That's what.
The rest. Think about how you could have used that $1 million. Let's go on our second beer.
You remember the music from that game? No, I think maybe I'm singing some other game. Is that the Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest? Yeah. I know, I was playing it not too long ago. And I was getting frustrated. But one I really can't... as a kid, I couldn't win, and I recently realized that I'm still just as bad as Super Ghosts and Goblins.
That game was like notoriously hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, you can always do Lasers with Larry. Be 48 hours of that.
There we go.
Well, see, that's a good choice. I hadn't thought about that. You're going to start bringing up PC games?
Yeah.
Yeah. Spend the whole time like trying to get laid and not.
I'm trying to think of all the old PC games that I used to play. Phantasmagoria. You guys remember that game? I used to work at Best Buy when all those things came out, so I used to get like demo versions.
Mm.
Well, I mean, if you play Doom, it's like, fuck. You're kind of fucked.
I don't think I ever played Doom. And I remember when Duke Nukem came out, and he was like, a lot of the phrases were from Army of Darkness. People are like, oh, that's what Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
What's it called? StarCraft did that too. They took a lot of sound bites from other things. South Park and...
So who brought the King Swirly?
King Swirly
IV.
King Swirly Iv. So I brought this one. This one is from King Harbor Brewing out of LA, or El Segundo, Redondo Beach, California. And this is thanks to my friend Chad over there. So we had King Swirly the second on a previous episode. It was episode 76. And this is so this is the 4th edition. It's also a bourbon barrel aged imperial dark ale. It's brewed with cacao nibs, vanilla beans, cold brew coffee, and lactose. What do you guys think? You can definitely get the cold brew coffee.
Yeah,
is prominent.
Yeah,
I get a lot of dark fruit. You get like a prunish raisin kind of taste.
How long has it been sitting? Decades?
I don't know, a couple months in my fridge.
Oh, okay. No, that's not enough to get that character.
Barrel aged beers are typically micro oxidized, so it's typical for the style.
Oh, okay. So you mean that oxidation passes through the wood?
Correct. It's a permeable barrier.
Fucking permeables.
Do you ever see it leak?
Yeah. You'll see the barrel start to excrete the liquid on occasion.
Wow.
That's like the angel share.
The angel share, I call it barrel candy because it starts to like harden up on the outside and it becomes this like thick molasses looking thing. You can just kind of scrape it off and eat it. Super disgusting because who the hell knows what's been stuck to it from around it. Fun story. I once saw. Well, I'm not gonna say it here. I'll tell you guys after.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not publicize this.
That's a great story for the podcast, though.
So, what do you have for your Miami Minute, Tony?
Oh, it's Miami Minute time.
Miami Minute. Miami Minute.
Miami Minute.
Miami Minute number one.
It's time for Miami's Minutes. Boop, boop, ba-doop. Yeah, so I'll give my usual Inter Miami FC update. Once again, this is David Beckham's upcoming MLS team from right here in Miami. It's called Inter Miami. And so far, we've signed 3 players. We've signed Matias Pellegrini and Julian Carranza, both from Argentina, a forward and a midfielder. And we've also signed Christian Macun from Venezuela, who is a center back. So shaping up to be a young South American contingent. And they've also, the rumor going around is that they're getting close to hiring the head coach, which the rumor is going to be Gennaro Gattuso, former AC Milan coach, who's kind of viral on the internet for his famous soundbite, which may describe my other team, Arsenal. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. But that would be an interesting appointment.
I'd say that's a good analogy of Miami.
Yeah.
So I'll keep with the sports thing. I don't know if you guys heard about this team called the Miami Marlins. They
what sport do they play?
They play baseball. They just recently had to apologize for a tweet, If you don't follow the Miami Marlins Twitter,
Yes, I've heard.
You're like the rest of us.
they are pretty funny. They do remind me of like Wendy's
all right.
Twitter.
All right.
So they're kind of funny. But they had to apologize because after they played the Tampa Bay Rays, I think they tweeted out something along the lines of, "Come on, guys, you're pretty much the reason Steve Irwin's dead."
Yeah, you're the animal that killed Steve Irwin.
And then
And then they fired back with a saucy one.
their comeback was, what are you guys talking about? You're the team that just got swept. So in a nice little weekend series.
I think they had to have a talk with the Marlins, also the commissioner. Like, you can't do that. They got sort of in trouble. Well, mine's was
That's why they're the Devil Rays, really.
no, Tony, no.
They may have changed the name, but they're still the Devil Rays.
They're still playing for the playoffs. So
Yeah. I'm saying that's why, they killed Steve Irwin, because of the devil. They're evil.
Go ahead, Ozen.
By the way, Bindi is pretty hot.
Bindi.
Yeah, Bindi.
Daughter.
Yeah.
Daughter Brewing.
She's
Oh.
of age now.
Oh, nice. Because last time I remember Bindi, she was getting stuffed almost into a crocodile by Steve Irwin. So, yeah, you don't realize that those kids are now 18.
Haley,
Haley, I
Mathers
was gonna say.
is another one.
Yeah,
Quite the looker.
So my
To the internet.
I don't know if you heard, but if you listen regularly to 560, but they just dismissed 3 hosts from 560. So right now 560 is in kind of a shambles. They only have like the national program while you're going to work, and
What radio show's that?
It's a sports radio. AM sports radio.
Yeah, it's
For those who don't
WQAM. Down here in Miami, it's they do cover all sports, and I was really looking forward to listening more sports because now it's finally football. Tomorrow is going to be the Miami Dolphins first preseason game. Pumped up to start watching football again. So I don't care for baseball, so it kind of sucked that when I went back to listen to radio, they weren't there.
My Miami Minute. I heard a rumor that people want to sign a petition to move Halloween.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I heard that too.
They want Halloween to be the last Saturday of October, the same way that Thanksgiving is the last Thursday in November. I think it's good for business.
Isn't it fourth Thursday?
Or is it the fourth Thursday? Something like that. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. I think we've forgotten why we celebrate Halloween. It's just turned into
All Hallows Eve.
A glorified spectacle of praising the devil.
yeah. That's what it's supposed to be. Thank you, Dave.
You can find them on Twitter at the King of Alpata.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have anything for Miami Minute?
Yeah, the Big Show moved out of Miami. This guy moved to LA. He left us behind. You could do,
No.
No.
Yeah.
He went L.A.
Union
that's
Beer
some
Store
big
is going to be
news.
heartbroken.
Well,
No, watch. I said the wrong thing. No, I think it is LA. No, but he did leave Miami. I know that because I would always miss him at Arbetter's when I go over to Arbiter Hot Dogs. They were like, "Oh, you just missed the Big Show." I'm like, or the movie theater. I know he would go to the Sunset Place.
Yeah, we do know he's a local guy, and we have friends of his, and try to get him on the show. Never
Yeah, I
made it.
know we see him at the UM basketball games.
well, now Beer Bros and BS is the big show in Miami.
Miami's most decorated podcast.
And I'll be honest, I really thought during the whole Lincoln's Beard, Mr. PB&J Jellyfest competition, Union was really saying that they had something special planned. I swear, I thought they were going to bring in Big Show or something like that.
That would have been amazing.
There's no budget for that.
I might have done it just to be like, let me see what other title.
Let me get it, yeah.
If you go to Union Beer and you see Alfredo Pesos, make sure you just give him a wedgie because that guy deserves it.
And if you are listening, Freddie, you heard it here.
And if you see Enrique, give him a wedgie too.
So I don't know if you guys heard this. There was a man in a Leicester University hospital over in England that he got an accidental circumcision.
Yes.
He went to the hospital for a bladder operation, but he was circumcised by mistake. And as compensation for that mistake, he got 20,000 pounds.
Did they at least do the bladder operation? That's what I'd be.
Yeah, for free. Like
The article didn't say.
But it is
you-
the UK, and they have universal health care, so yeah.
And he was awake because he didn't notice that it was happening. He said he was talking to a nurse that was across the room the whole time that it was happening. And he, before they took him back to the recovery area, they said, we have to talk to you. We can't let you go yet. We don't know how it happened. It just got out of hand, and we hope to never make this mistake again.
Well, you can only get circumcised once, so.
I think they probably mean for other people. Hopefully.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be circumcised for a second time.
Can you imagine he goes there, accidentally gets a sex change operation? Oof.
I think so. According to Andrew Furlong, the medical director at University Hospitals of Leicester, said, "We remain deeply and genuinely sorry that this mistake occurred, and I would like to take this opportunity to once again apologize to Mr. Brazier."
Talk about a 20,000-pound haircut.
I don't get it.
A little off the top.
It's just a little off the top. You got 20,000 pounds for it, which doesn't seem like enough, frankly.
Yeah, I was going to say that's...
I mean, it's a pretty, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is a pretty egregious error.
Yeah, if that happened in America, he would have gotten a lot more than that.
It would no longer be the
Thanks, Torch Law.
University Hospitals of Leicester. It would be now the University Hospitals of Mr. Brazier.
Yeesh.
Jose, what do you got?
All right, so I don't know if you heard, in California, they just introduced a new bill on redefining what is beer. So we all have
Beer?
beer.
Interesting.
So,
Important.
yeah, because it's very important because in California you used to not be able to just add fruits into your beer if you wanted to ferment with them because they would consider that a wine. You would also have to have a wine license.
Did it matter how much fruit?
I don't think so.
So just any amount of fruit.
Yeah, so for instance, brewing the Miami Madness, you would need a wine license because it's alcohol made with fruits, technically. So the new law that was signed in July, and it's going to be effective next year, will allow California now to brew freely with fruits. As long as it's beer. So it has to have still a malt base and some hops. But this is great because I guess we'll see a lot more varieties coming from the California region.
And that brings us to our third beer of the night.
So is that why California
Or
was
not.
known more for its IPAs because they couldn't really do more fruity beers?
I would imagine so, or they would do things more with nuts or other adjuncts.
There was the Rare Barrel out of by the San Francisco Bay Area. They were brewing sour beers with fruit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but they might
must
have a
had
wine
They
license.
must have had the wine license.
And that brings us to our third beer of the night.
Yeah, we got a Early Bird Special by Aardwolf Brewing in Jacksonville, Florida. It's an Imperial Stout aged in... this isn't aged at all. It's not aged in any barrels, but it does have vanilla, cinnamon, and coffee. I thought this was barrel aged. I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They do have a big barrel program, though.
They do. Aardwolf does a lot of different barrels. They have their White Russian.
They had the Eye of
Mariachi.
1,000 Years or whatever. It was theirs.
I have a White Russian? White Russian, really?
Yeah,
Yep.
a White Russian inspired beer. So it's probably just a lot of lactose and I'm not
And
sure what
chocolate
else.
malts.
And chocolate, yeah.
Yeah, this is good. A lot of cinnamon and coffee.
I get a lot of vanilla on the nose, and there's definitely a pronounced roast on it.
Yeah. So my topic is something I'm very excited about. Today, we heard the first new song from Tool in 13 years,
Did it blow your mind?
pretty much.
Who is Tool, for those who don't know?
Tool is a rock band, guys.
I mean, I didn't really hear many songs from them because I never bought their albums and I couldn't really stream them.
Yeah, so that's
For a long
another
time.
thing. So
Rock? That's a style of music,
yeah, it's an old style.
It's an up-and-coming style.
up and coming. I have to tune into my old radio on my phone.
Yeah, so
Your
so
hi-fi.
yeah, so as Jose was saying, they're excuse me, their music has not been available on streaming platforms or on online purchase, but now they are as of last week. And they have a new album coming out, Fear Inoculum, August 30th. But the first track was released today, and it is pretty damn cool, so check it out. I'm super excited.
So you'd say you're excited? You go running so excited?
Or are you just
Like
excited that you're like satisfied that this made my Spotify membership actually worth
Or are
it?
you excited like you have a spider boner?
I would say that.
Hashtag spider boner.
Hashtag Spider-Man.
Hashtag spider boner.
The last time I think I listened to Tool, I had a Zune. I've been holding that joke for a while. It's not even a joke.
It's like, seriously, guys, I
Thanks,
still have it.
Microsoft. Thanks.
So tell us how you got here in the Magic City Casino, how you got this amazing museum that people got to check out.
So I started collecting almost 10 years ago. A friend of mine gave me a sign for a restaurant called Burger Chef. Down here in Miami, there was never any Burger Chefs. But Burger Chef actually at one point was actually headquartered out of Fort Lauderdale. And he gave me a sign. I had no idea what it was. I took it home. I had kind of sworn off collecting stuff, but I have a bad problem with that. I used to collect Laserdiscs. I mean, that's talk about dating myself. VHS tapes, CDs, DVDs, HD before, Blu-ray annihilated them.
I had some of those.
I used to collect all that stuff.
DVDs.
We still have at our house like a giant collection of Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, the original stuff, and the original Japanese stuff from June Planning. But I kind of said, look, I said I'm not going to collect anything else. And he gave me that sign, and I bought a book about Burger Chef. I read the history of Burger Chef, and it interested me so much. I went on eBay and then just bought a bunch of Burger Chef stuff. And my wife's like, what are you going to do with that? I'm like, I have no idea. And I just started buying stuff, and eventually our little office at our home, that kind of became the decor for the office. And what my wife didn't know is that I was buying stuff and keeping it in my old bedroom at my parents' house. And at that point, I had kind of spiraled into like 10, 12 boxes of stuff, and my mom said to me, you need to get this shit out of here. Like, that's literally what she said. And it's kind of funny because the New Times quoted me as saying that, and my mom's like, I never said that. I'm like, no. Trust me, that is what she said. She said, you need to get that shit out of here. And we ended up putting it as decor for our old office. And we meet with the casino once a year, Magic City Casino, to decide what we're going to do as far as events here. And they came over to check it out, and the CEO of the casino saw it, and he loved it. And I figured, let me just pitch him the idea. What he'd think if I opened up a burger museum, and knowing that there had never been a really fully 100% running all year burger museum. There's been things here and there that were seasonal or just like something that ran for a few months. In Wisconsin, there's a place, a guy's home that's called the Hamburger Museum up in northern Florida. But nothing that's real historical with only historical pieces. I'm not into collecting like, tchotchkes or burger earrings and things like that. Everything in there has tied to restaurants and kind of historical restaurants. So even KFC, there's a lot of KFC stuff. And that's because KFC has a lot of ties to a lot of burger restaurants. And there's pizza stuff, but it's mostly burgers. And I just started buying stuff, and it kind of got out of control. And I needed, I tell my wife collects antiques, and I tell her she's a hoarder, and she's like, you're a hoarder, but your stuff is on display. And that's probably the best way to describe it.
Okay. And you have a restaurant coming up?
Yes, indeed. Jimmy and Willie who own Mojo Donuts in Westchester. Beautiful Westchester, where I grew up. I just love to say that.
Me too.
Yeah, it is beautiful Westchester. That's right. And so that they have Mojo Donuts there. I'm going to be opening my burger restaurant, the Burger Beast Burger Joint. It should be open by late August, early September. We'll be doing small little tastings here and there. Randomly, like for example, we were tasting the bacon cheese fries this week. Some people happened to recognize me when I was in the restaurant. They came up, asked me about the restaurant, and they were lucky enough to try them. So if you see me in Mojo Donuts, ask me what I'm doing, and you may be able to try some of the stuff before it becomes fully available at the restaurant.
Those fries were fantastic.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you were there.
And we're here today.
I forgot you were there. You got to try the ranch sauce, which is the first time I brought out the house-made ranch sauce.
Yeah, that ranch was fantastic.
I'm getting peeked on by the security now.
Because we are truly inside the casino and in the property here.
Yeah, I gotta say that the museum is really cool. Thanks for letting us check it out. Like, I definitely got like a blast from the past with some of the stuff you have, like from Lums.
You remember Lums?
I remember Lums, like from when I was like a little kid, and Lila's restaurant. Like I grew up, like
Are you Hispanic?
I'm not.
Okay, that's because you said Lila. Because it's Lila's.
Oh,
Well, he's married to a Hispanic girl, so
that's true.
You're gonna get punished for that.
Yeah, so more than just burger. I mean, I feel a lot of like it's you're a Miami historian in a lot of ways.
Yeah, right. I have a current obsession with. I mean, there's a lot of there's a South Florida. There's a South Florida restaurant area, and I have a lot of South Florida stuff going back to the Jewish delis, and then there's also a bunch of Cuban restaurant stuff, and that's easier for me to connect with because I have a lot of relationships with the restaurants down here in Miami. The Lila stuff I got from the actual family that owned the restaurant, and they gave us a bunch of stuff, including the T-shirt that's there on the wall. The El Cid was also given to me by the Rodriguez family, who was part owners of El Cid, and they gave me the menu and they gave me the cups that you got into that he was asking me about. And now, as more people visit the museum, I get people who are like, "Hey, I used to work there, or whatever," and they want to give me something so it's on display. Perfect example, La Yesteran, which used to be down here.
Oh yeah,
the menu's there, and I actually happen to know one of the sons of the founder. He came in one day, brought me the menu, and that same day, a couple came through the museum less than an hour after he left, and told me that was their spot to eat at before they got married. And I was like, man, what a coincidence! He just gave it to me and actually put it on display, and then they saw it, and it reminded them. So for me, all the cool stuff is to talk to everybody and them remembering, I remember my grandfather. I've seen people like cry standing in front of the old styrofoam McDonald's. I have the McDLT. Like, if you're not familiar with the McDLT, it's probably something you should look up. Very interesting concept that McDonald's had with.
I remember that.
It was this gigantic styrofoam container that half the sandwich was kept cold and half was kept warm. And then when you took the lid off, you were supposed to put the sandwich together. So you'd have the burger and the bottom bun on one side, and then the cheese, lettuce, tomato, and the top bun on the other side. They were separated open face, and then you were supposed to put it together yourself.
Wasn't
George Costanza?
Yeah,
yes.
George Costanza was in the commercial. Yeah.
Yes.
you see you have Rey de las Fritas there too.
Yes, I have it at Rey de las Fritas table. We also have a giant picture of Benito, who was the founder of Rey de las Fritas. When Mago recently, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, remodeled a little bit their place, that booth is that was the booth that Mago would hang out. So if you ever visited at Mago de las Fritas, he was always at the last booth. That's the actual booth he would sit at. His actual spatula is there. His original business card's there. The Morro Castle just closed a couple of years ago. That's the original Morro Castle sign that we have in there. If you can see, it's totally rusted away, but it's a super cool sign. And there's a lot of frita stuff because I have a personal obsession with frita cubana. If you're not familiar with it, it used to be street food in Cuba, and it came over to Miami in the early 60s.
Yeah, is it a burger?
It could be. Depends how you want to look at it. There's a lot of different ways to prepare it. If you're talking like a Rey and a Mago, which are kind of like two best known frita places in Miami, they do not use chorizo or pork, which kind of people don't believe that. It's just all in the seasoning. If you go to something like Morro Castle and Frita Domino, which are probably the two oldest frita places, there is, I believe, chorizo or pork. And Frita Domino does something definitely different because they deep fry their fritas, which is an interesting technique, and it gives a different texture to the patty.
Nice.
Do you have probably be hard to pick, but is there one item here you love or you cherish above the rest?
You should have asked me like one of your questions. You said, if there was a fire, you could only say one item, what would it be? And I would say it is probably the Burger Castle clock. Mostly because I have an obsession with Burger Castle. I never ate there. They went out of business in the late 70s, and it was founded in 1964. The guy who actually founded it was the first franchisee for Burger King. They wouldn't I spoke to his son. He told me that they would not give his dad another location because he was difficult to deal with. So he decided to create his own chain. Apparently, they had nothing in any of their agreement that he couldn't do that. But he actually made the logo like a king. And then though he pretty much used the same layout. This is what his son told me, the same layout as a Burger King. And the burger was called the Giant instead of the Whopper. And the actual bottom half of the sign, if you go down to 175 and US 1, the bottom half of the sign is still there. They were a pair of legs because it was a giant 21-foot statue. And the bottom half of the legs are just painted over. It's not used for anything. It's just there. It's interesting. And then I have the clock, which I found one day. I Googled Burger Castle Miami, and I kept going till Google had nothing else left for me, and I found a link to someone selling a clock in West Palm Beach. And I looked at it, and I was like, how big could this clock be? And then I saw how much it was worth, and I was like, I don't remember now how much it was, but it was like $300 or $400, I'd say at least. It may have been actually even double that. There's a guy who collects Burger King stuff here who likes to rub in my face stuff he has that I don't have. And I showed him a picture of the clock. He's like, if you don't buy it, I want it. So I called those people like that day. I was like, hey, I want that clock. And I went to pick it up. I drove to West Palm. It looked like a drug deal because we were in the parking lot of an antique shop. And they opened the door so I could look at it. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. Here's your cash. And then it's here. And she's a beauty.
Pretty cool. And that brings us...
What I found interesting was that like you started collecting like the Burger Chef, but you never ate a Burger Chef, right?
Right.
So what made you decide to start collecting?
I read the story of Burger Chef, and I found it very interesting. Burger Chef, if you read a lot of their histories, a lot of these companies that were getting really big started buying smaller companies. But it was, Burger Chef ended up getting bought by Hardee's, and then Hardee's ended up getting bought by Carl's Jr. It's like all these companies started eating each other and just becoming larger.
Like burgers.
Right, and so Carl's Jr. kept Hardee's on the East Coast and Carl's Jr.'s on the West Coast. But they changed all the menu items to be like Carl's Jr. It's not like what Hardee's was. And Hardee's used to be here in Miami. There used to be one in Westchester, beautiful Westchester, of course, and in Hialeah. And they're long gone. If you go to, like Central Florida, you'll find them. You go to Fort Myers, you'll probably encounter Hardee's there. But it's Carl's Jr. The only thing I believe they kept from the Hardee's menu was the breakfast stuff, like the biscuits and stuff, which Hardee's breakfast is pretty good.
Okay, cool. And that brings us to our fourth and final beer of the night. You
brought this one, Dave.
Let me tell you guys about it. So this is Dragon's Milk from New Holland Brewing. It's
out of the great state of
Michigan. This is their raspberry hibiscus reserve, and of course it comes in 11%. As all of this style is always barrel aged at their breweries with their own bourbon.
Oh, so they make their own bourbon.
Yeah, we had it on the liquor episode.
Oh, that's right.
That is interesting.
Although I don't remember too much about the liquor episode.
It tastes like a chocolate covered raspberry.
Yeah.
Very, very pronounced raspberry flavor. Over the top raspberry flavor for sure.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed when I...
Yeah, it tastes like one of the, like a store candy or like, I guess a Smartie. That's what I would say. Smarties.
Or Big Smarties. Is there more flavorful? Big Smarties, sorry.
Big Smarties, no. Well, I mean, if you haven't seen the museum, he also collects candies around here. I actually looked through the window bin. Like, there's old stuff like...
I mean, let's
like the original Hershey's.
Yeah. I mean, they're real. Like you can buy these candies. They're not old candies. They're not like 60 years old.
Oh, they're real candies. Oh, okay. So
yeah, they are for sale.
Oh, I thought those were like antiques. Like...
No. That stuff for sale. Yeah. No,
oh, okay.
An excellent selection of soft drinks and colas.
Yeah, I was going to say since you guys brought beers, I think what we should do is we should open one of the craft colas for you guys to try.
Yeah.
Is there one in particular that you'd want to try?
Well, there's one that's made in Central Florida called Havana Cola. And I know it's distributors out of... He's the one who actually sells us a lot of the soft drinks we sell. Cola and all the colas we have here at the museum are all sugarcane. None of them have corn syrup. But when we have a moment, this is what the Burger Castle guys look like.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so they still have those legs down there.
Right, no, and I'll show you right now what the legs look like. It's actually kind of crazy that this is still out there. That's
wow.
That's 15 feet tall, by the way.
That's hilarious.
That's the bottom half of the sign. So if you're in 175, and
Are they
I wonder why they never tore it down.
What that was. Now,
Are they willing to sell the legs?
I have tried multiple times to get a hold of everybody there. I've actually driven there twice, and one time the gates was closed, and other times I got in, I knocked, and no one opened the door to me. Maybe because I look like a maniac obsessed with wanting something.
Give me the legs.
Much like the people that show up at your burger museum.
Yeah, I called them, left them a message. I wrote them through Facebook. I don't think they have an Instagram because it's a church. Yeah, it's a Baptist church, and I actually thought of maybe I should just show up there and give some money, and maybe they'll want. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I don't want to offend any people. Just kidding. I will do what it takes to get that.
Visit the church and talk to the pastor, I guess.
If anybody were wanting to donate stuff to the museum, are you accepting donations?
Yeah, most definitely. We are accepting donations. The best thing would probably be come by the museum and check it out. You kind of see what we have. I don't really per se collect the McDonald's toys because that's the thing that a lot of people want to give me, and I do take them in. I just wouldn't even have a display big enough, I think, to put up everything that I have. And I was lucky enough that when I was doing for my book signing, we were in Kentucky. Someone showed up with a gigantic box of McDonald's toys from the late 70s. And I just want to build a display just to put those out because that, for me, is interesting because you're talking something that's now 40 years old. You know, back when you could, promote to children, fast food.
I think
now you have to promote apple slices.
Yeah. I think I've still got the McDonald's Transformers.
Never noticed that. Wow.
You notice that you don't see Ronald McDonald anymore. You don't see any of those characters anymore. They're kind of not used because they're not supposed to be catering to kids, and so that's why the menus kind of change. And it's only a matter before there's a vegan something or other.
I thought it was because Ronald McDonald went crazy, lost it, and just killed everybody and murdered suicide.
The other McDonald character.
No one can kill the Grimace.
Well, look, in the
Grimace was first.
In one of the chapters, and I'm going to give you guys each a copy of the book before you leave.
Awesome.
Before you should read the McDonald's stuff, but it's really interesting to me is there's a lot of the Burger Wars is probably the most interesting chapter in the 80s when it was Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's going at it. And to be honest, it was really mostly Burger King trying to pick fights with everybody and people trying to kind of ignore. It was a battle for second place. McDonald's has always been so far ahead of everybody. It's kind of hard for anyone to even catch up. I think Burger King was just trying to pick a fight and trying to get, some exposure, and it worked for a little bit. And then that tied into the same era when, if you grew up in the 80s or you're familiar, look up, go on Google and look up, Where's the Beef? And the Where's the Beef just hit Wendy's into the stratosphere. And the chapter is really interesting, and they talk about a lot of the stuff that Burger King was doing, including hiring some away higher up from McDonald's. And his first thing was, we're going to have to go after kids. Because the McDonald land characters, and they created the Burger King Kingdom. And you should have seen some of the stuff back there, because there was like the Wizard of Fries and Sir Shakes-a-Lot and the Burger King, who was like a magician. And all that stuff was kind of created to compete against the McDonald land characters.
I remember the Burger King Kids Club with Kid Vic and Lingo.
Yeah, oh shit.
Oh yeah, and the guy on the wheelchair.
Yeah. Well, was his name Wheels?
Wheels, yeah. I remember that, dude. And then they used to have like the little booklets that you like collect.
Yeah.
With the cards, yeah, dude. Might still have.
And I remember like that the Burger King used to have all the Disney toys. McDonald's had, they didn't have Disney, right? So a lot of times the toys at Burger King were better for a while.
Well, the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff with Burger King watches, I don't know if you remember when Nightmare Before Christmas came out.
And didn't one of them have Star Trek or Star Wars? So I think it was Burger King.
I think the Star Wars, if you're talking like 20 years ago,
That's
Taco Bell was...
No. I'm talking about...
Oh, Burger King did the cups.
Yeah, it was those glass ones.
Cups.
I remember
still have some of those.
Burger King also used to do trading cards
Is it 20 years ago that episode 1 came out? Because
90, wasn't it 99?
Yeah, 99.
Yeah, so that's when
Goddamn,
Taco
we're
Bell
old.
used. I remember
Talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, having
talking about Star Wars.
And they promoted the hell.
Yeah, I
out
remember those cups with like the toppers of the characters, those like hideous things.
They still did do them. I had a Ray one for the new one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is it still Taco Bell that does it?
So 20 years later, you guys think maybe Jar Jar was Could have been that Sith.
We're not going down that rabbit hole.
We don't want to get that on tape.
Maybe we don't want to go down that dark side.
The only day sadder for me than watching that movie in 1999 was in the summer of, I think it was 2001, watching that Planet of the Apes Tim Burton film.
Oh,
And at
the
that
new
time,
one? Yeah.
I actually owned a movie store at that time, which I think is when Tony and I met through a mutual friend. And it was a horror and cult film store. It was called Ola Horror. And I had loaded up on Planet of the Apes. I was like, Tim Burton, Planet of the Apes, this is going to be like a home run. And we sold out of all the initial merchandise. And remember, we closed the store early that day. We went to go see the movie. We went to see the early showing, so we opened later. And we're like 45 minutes into the movie, and I look over at my wife and I say, we're fucked. She's like, why? I go, I don't know how we're going to get rid of this merchandise. And truth be told, I still have some magnets and stuff from that still at my house. True story.
Yeah, that movie was not good.
Nope, not good.
What do you guys think of this Havana Cola?
It's
I can't
actually
believe I can't believe that there's actually something like this manufactured so locally, and I've never seen it before.
And this is also our first non-alcoholic beverage.
I think so. Yeah, so it's made with key lime, I guess.
I don't see any key limes in the ingredients, but it does say that.
It says the original key lime cola. Says it brings back the taste of key lime, but yeah, we don't see key lime in the ingredients. So
There's other ways.
Your mileage may vary.
There's other ways,
but it's
you can
actually
get
pretty
key
tasty.
lime. You can get key lime from citric acid.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of reminiscent of like Ritz Cola or RC Cola.
What about Czech?
Yeah, it could be Czech Cola. Yeah, Czech Cola is
Yeah.
kind of like that too. Yeah.
So check it out at Burger Museum.
And what are we
It's really
snacking
nice,
on?
actually.
Some delicious plantain chips.
From Chifles? Garlic?
Yeah, garlic,
Yeah. You gotta have the ajo.
ajo.
Ah.
Ajo all day.
This is fun.
Oh, I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood the other day.
I haven't seen it yet,
I liked it.
so no spoilers.
Cover your ears, Tony.
I haven't
No,
seen
no,
it.
I'm just kidding,
I haven't seen
I'm
it.
It's pretty good. It's definitely a Tarantino film, super self-referential, but does a good job at building up the suspense. I think you guys will enjoy it. If you're a fan of Tarantino, you'll definitely love the film.
So, like, where do you rank it among his works?
Well, that's kind of tough. It would be pretty down there if I'm being perfectly honest. Definitely behind Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, Volume 1 and 2. Behind Reservoir Dogs. He did Inglourious Bastards, right? That was it? Yeah, behind Inglourious Bastards too. I think it would be ahead of the Grindhouse movie. It wasn't Death Proof. What was it? Was it Death Proof? No, it was the chainsaw leg one, right? Arm. Anyway, you probably know what I'm talking about.
What the question is? What is it better? Which of the Once Upon a Time movies is it better than? Is it better than Once Upon a Time in America, Once Upon a Time in the West, or Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
Ooh. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Wait, is Once Upon a Time in the West the Seth MacFarlane one?
No, it's A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh,
Yeah, Once Upon a Time is a Sergio Leone.
that was a stupid as fuck sounding question. Sorry.
Was it after
Yeah, it's
Desperado?
Charles Bronson,
or-
right?
Once Upon a Time in Mexico was, I think, the movie he made like a sequel to this.
Sequel to this.
The one with Johnny Depp
Selma
Hayek,
Hayek.
cochinita pibil everywhere. Oh my god, that's such a good dish.
My favorite line is where he's like, "Are you a Mexican or a Mexicant?"
I don't think it's better than any of those movies. But if you're, like I said, if you're a fan of Tarantino, a lot of the similar motifs, a lot of little Easter eggs too. And the story is definitely a good story. It develops well. I just
Kind of know how it's going to end.
the acting.
Is it big?
No, not really.
So it differs then.
The acting. Well, to be honest, I'm not too familiar with the actual story, but I'm pretty sure that.
Well, in real life, Sharon Tate was murdered
in
by
this
Manson
episode of
family.
Beer Bros and BS, I cannot disclose any of that information.
Okay, but just so you know, Sharon Tate was, she was murdered by the Manson
And
family.
where was Roman Polanski?
He was in London. Yeah,
He was with a little girl.
Whoa. But Leonardo
that the-
DiCaprio.
He's the one fighting extradition, not me.
Isn't that the plot for the black
Talking about-
How do you know? So they know that
Black
they
Dahlia is.
they made that public before.
I forgot the name
What?
of the actress.
Yeah.
Who the
That- that-
antagonist
yeah.
is?
No,
in
but
New
they,
York?
they had a guy.
Well, they
that
said it was Sharon
got
Tate, and she was an
14
actress that was
years
murdered by the Manson family. So,
I'm not sure.
Never mind then.
Sharon, other than being married to Roman Polanski.
It also wasn't only Sharon Tate who was murdered that evening.
Wow, spoilers.
Oh, this is history. We're just talking about.
Well, I'm just saying because in Inglourious Bastards, and I'll be honest, I only have fully seen one full Tarantino movie, which was Inglourious Bastards.
Really?
And I really do like that film.
Why can't you finish his? Why can't you finish his movies?
I can't get into them. Was that the one, the Western?
It's such an excellent story. The Hateful Eight.
Yeah,
You're watching all the wrong ones, man. You got to watch his early stuff.
Why don't you watch like Reservoir Dogs? Start there.
And I can say this now because Dan is
You
not
never
here.
seen Reservoir Dogs?
That's his favorite film, and he's tried to make me watch it.
I started watching it when I was a kid, and then my parents are like, "This is bullshit," and they took it off. And I was like,
Okay, well now you're a grown man. You can watch Reservoir Dogs.
"I know."
You
can
should
do that
watch
tonight.
Reservoir Dogs. It's good.
Yeah, I could. I
Reservoir
mean,
Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill. Those are.
I've seen
excellent-
Pulp Fiction. That
excellent
was
ones.
like I've seen parts of them. I know that.
Supposedly, what is it? Foxy Brown.
Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown. Jackie Brown's supposed to. A lot of people regard it as his best one. I haven't actually seen
Nah.
it.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I like Inglourious Bastards. I do like it a lot. I'll watch it anytime I see it on TV, no matter what part of the film it's in.
So you-
Django? You haven't seen Django?
I did see Django. It was okay. I don't think it was amazing.
But you did see it completely.
Yeah, I
It's
just forget
just
about that
funny
one.
how he's like taking films now that are kind of partially based on other films, or like Django is based on the old like Italian the spaghetti western, and at least name wise, or just even this one having the most recent one having to do with Sharon Tate. It's just I don't know. It's kind of interesting that he just does twist.
And
That's his whole thing, though, right?
but Inglourious Bastard, it has an ending that differs from reality. So you wouldn't
It's his
expect
own
that.
Universe. It's his own little universe.
Yeah, of course.
Bring out the gimp.
So Jose, let me ask you, what burns your bacon?
Burns my bacon.
Wait,
is,
we have guest bacons.
yes. What burns my bacon is actually not my own bacon.
And I don't know how you didn't talk about where you were a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and how Angry Honey Badger Brewing took
about
judge's third place at
anything-
the homebrew
Yes.
competition.
Well, I'm a little humble myself, but
If Sonia was
I
on
am
the
myself
show,
humble.
but if Sonia was on the show, it wouldn't be so humble.
So let's do a little backtracking before we get into that.
Oh, okay. So over last weekend,
no, 2 weekends ago.
2 weekends ago, I entered a homebrew competition. So you actually
Where was the
tried
homebrew
some-
competition at?
at Jonathan Wakefield Brewing Company. I think I got it right this time. At J. Wakefield, I entered the homebrewing competition. You sampled some of my creations that I did. I brought in the brown ale that we brewed.
Big Librarian Brown Ale.
Yes, and also I had the Mamoncillo Session Ale, which was called the Choking Hazard.
What did
That's a great name.
are there any old Cuban adages or wisdom regarding mamoncillos?
Yeah, it's that you should be careful with them because you can choke on them to death. The thing is that it's grown down here in South Florida. It's now readily available through July and August.
What is a mamoncillo?
It's actually in English it's called Spanish lime. They're also called gunaps,
And in Spanish, it's just a lime.
and in Spanish it's just mamoncillos or sucker fruits. What you do is that you suck on them and you kind of take out the pulp with your teeth. But the problem is that it's very slippery and you can actually choke on them. So actually, to be honest, it was kind of tough getting the pulp out to brew with the fruit. So I just made a session ale that was with this fruit to get it kind of like a session ale inspired flavor and fruity flavor. It was very nice because it was hot as hell outside.
It
Like-
was very hot that day.
It was very hot that day, so I said, hey, screw it. I'm not going to bring like something like an Imperial Stout to this homebrew competition. I'm going to bring something that's sessionable and people actually want to drink. And it actually was very popular. People actually came back for seconds. It was my first time that people were actually appreciative of what I did.
And so
And the end result was you got third place. The judges gave you third
Yes.
place for the competition, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I actually had
who was the
Do you
judge?
recall
You?
do you recall who the judges were? No, I abstained to
No.
avoid any conflicts of interest. I
Maria,
recused
Jonathan,
myself.
and G Money,
And there were a couple of other judges, no?
and also Paul.
And weren't there some writers?
Writers.
Or could you tell us
Yeah.
instead of leaving us in suspense?
I don't remember their names.
Do you remember where they write for?
Carlos Frias was among them, but I don't remember the other person. There was another.
I might have not recognized them at the moment.
You don't know the great Carlos Frias, James Beard Award-winning writer for the Miami Herald?
Maybe not.
And I hope he doesn't listen to us either because very humble,
Wow.
very humble.
Okay.
Sorry, Carlos, man.
So, so you had a box there?
Yeah, I had a box there, and people could submit their.
What kind of
burns-
box was it?
It's a Pampers box because that's the only type of box that I have in my house right now. So it's a Pampers Huggies box. Actually,
It's all right. And Pampers,
But-
Pampers will do.
Pampers will do. And it said, "What burns your bacon?" And you just submit your index cards, and I promised them that I would read them off in the show. Okay, so I haven't read these. I haven't sifted through these yet. So this is the first time I actually read
Here we
them.
go.
Okay. What burns your bacon? Condoms. Condoms burn
Your bacon's on your dick.
Yeah. I guess some person really doesn't like condoms. He does the old switcheroo and takes them out.
Rather
They
than
do
having
prevent-
your
diseases
your
and
dick
AIDS.
burning.
Yes.
So you should still use them.
They do not
Well-
prevent clones.
They do not- Pedestrians not knowing the right of way. Gotta walk defensively. So I guess this person just
Doesn't have a car.
doesn't have a car. I guess. Miami traffic.
Yeah.
Always making an appearance.
A recurring theme.
Recurring theme. And... Or burns my bacon? Slow drivers. Yet
Yeah.
again.
Again with the traffic.
More traffic. Traffic. Yes, that burns my bacon too.
Okay, Tony, what burns your bacon?
So what burns my bacon is gout.
The king's disease.
Yeah. So I recently learned that I'm developing gout, which is poised to severely limit or near eliminate my beer intake,
Eliminate.
which is
But does it eliminate your soda intake?
I don't really drink a lot of soda regardless.
So is it going to be hard seltzer for you from now on?
The White Claw, guys.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
But it's beer and like meat also, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not supposed to have red meat.
What misery, man.
or
Sorry.
anything that's high in purine, right? So
Yeah, anything that's high in purines. But what I've learned is that the trigger for me is when I drink a lot of beer. So I have to like really try to drink, almost as little as possible, at least for the next like foreseeable number of months.
It's funny because I thought you said I got to drink mimosas, and I was like, what does that have to do with anything?
until
gonna-
my uric acid goes down, and then I can have like
to burgers, bros,
moderate-
and BS.
Yeah, so
This is the first episode.
so I'm gonna have to like change my handle to like the water gooner.
I was thinking about that. I was like, false advertising, fake news.
Yeah, so that burns my bacon, and also like it's not very well like publicized, but apparently like it's still a very like not uncommon condition that people have gout. But it has this like reputation that it's like this old timey like centuries old thing that you only got fucking if you were like sipping on tankards of mead, hundreds of years ago.
I saw it once in an episode of Royal Pains, so I knew it was still around, at least in Nantucket.
Yeah, so like there should be more gout awareness.
So this is the beginnings of the gout, the Beer Bros BS gout 5K walkathon,
Yeah, if
Wow.
3K maybe.
Chugathon? No, yeah, we should walk. We should
So,
walk.
guys, if you ever like have like you drink a lot of beer and you get like extreme pain in your big toes, it's probably gout. So be on
I
the
like
lookout
this,
for
I
that
like this
because
idea, Dave.
I first thought it was that I had broken my toe.
Wow.
Like that's how painful it was. But after
And
a
then
while,
you got it
turned
on
out
your
I
other
had-
toe, and then you're like,
Yeah, and then
do
I
I
was
have
like,
brittle bone disease?
yeah, exactly. And then finally
Are
determined
you the
it was
villain
gout.
from Unbreakable?
Mr. Glass? Yeah, but seriously, that's like what I thought for a little bit.
Let's do it. Let's do the Beer Bros 5K for 1K.
Let's do it.
1K.
Let's just do like a couple blocks.
Yeah, just a block. Just go one
We'll
block.
go from
Beer Bros BS.
go
Gal,
from, Wake,
walk.
go
Gal
from
block
Wakefield to
walk.
Koyotako.
Yeah, exactly.
And the block so happens to be the block around Wakefield.
Wakefield to Box Elder. There you go.
I think
The
we
craft
can get
beer.
a golf cart sponsor.
There we go. So if you're listening and you've like had encounters with gout or whatever, tweet at me and let me know how.
He's
you
a
go.
We could always
hard
get
seltzer gooner.
We could always get Hot Wheels
Hard seltzer.
to donate their roller skate cart and just like put a foot on it.
It'll be a float. It'll be a float in the block walk.
Is there anything that burns your bacon?
Yeah, you know what? I absolutely hate when someone comes to my house and they tell me, "Yeah, I got to use the bathroom," and then because now I go back and I check what's happening here, and then they leave shit splatter on the inside of my seat. I'm like, this fucker is gonna make me have to clean his shit.
Literally.
Jose, stop going over to stuff's house.
and it's happened more than once. That's the worst part. Not the same person either. So now I'm like a hawk. Like if you go to the bathroom, I'll go in right after you. I'm like, I better not be leaving any shit.
I don't
in
really
here.
mind that.
I've
It's
done a
commonly
couple
known
of
that.
explosive
Yeah, I
shits
know.
in
It's
Jose's
commonly
house.
known that we record at our studio that's at my house, and I really don't mind. I've had people like leave for
I'm
15 minutes at
impressed.
the podcast. Like,
during recording.
During recording, just get up.
I don't mind if they use the restroom. I'm not saying I just don't want them like.
well, I already have
Splattering
cats,
around.
so I already clean
Leaving
people's
shit
around.
splatter.
I'm impressed whenever you can get shit on the bottom side of the toilet seat.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, like
That's
what are the logistics?
Explosion.
Splashback.
What burns my bacon are car insurance companies. Got into an accident a little over a month ago, and I'm still trying to get my fucking car fixed. I think it was like California Fire and Casualty, shitty ass insurance company. The other person, it's their fault, so this is their insurance company that's being a pain in the ass to fucking deal with.
Oh
But,
man, I dealt with 2 months ago. I got hit from behind, like it was a little bump, and I dealt with travelers insurance, and they were fine. Like travelers insurance was great for me, but yeah, some people have these sketchy El Toro or whatever. Like
I feel like I probably would have been better off with Estrella Insurance. Go ahead and sponsor us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at our big titty models and buy our
What's
insurance.
this? What's this company that they're always advertising now, like Seda or Sedo or whatever?
No idea.
And it's like some guy like getting hit by a car, like
I don't know.
on the
I've never
on
seen
the
it.
buses. Oh, whatever.
So let me
I
ask.
was too busy looking at the Estrella ads.
But I think that's also comes into play why insurance is so bad. Car insurance, it's because there's always like the ambulance chaser lures and whatever that. And there's also a lot of fraud in Miami.
Thanks again, Torch Law. Here we
Yeah.
go one more time.
So let me ask you guys, what was your favorite beer or soda of the night?
I really enjoyed. I'd probably say the New Holland raspberry hibiscus one. Raspberry and a stout. It's got a place in my heart. I do like that.
The IV.
Yeah, I'm about to say the IV too. Put an IV on my veins.
I liked the Flavor Town.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So don't forget, you can find us on social media anywhere that you can find a podcast. Follow us there. Don't forget, we are on Spotify, YouTube, Apple. What else, Tony?
Podbean, Pod Nose, Pod Brain, Pod
Jose?
Face.
We should be on Untapped very soon.
And Podcast Addict.
Burger Beast, how can people follow you and like keep track of your events and goings on?
If you want to follow me, what I'm up to at Burger Beast, all across the social media spectrum. If you want to check out my blog, it's burgerbeast.com. And my restaurant is under Burger Beast Burgers. And one last one, Burger Museum, if you want to check out the museum. And
Definitely. Please check out the museum.
If you mention, you heard this podcast, you come here, it's $5 per person to get in. We'll waive the $5. How do you like that?
Whoa.
Wow.
You heard it here on Beer Bros and BS.
Awesome.
Should they use the
promo code?
The promo code Beer Bros BS?
It should work.
It should work.
You say that, and then you say IV, and that will get the magic.
And do you have anything else coming up that you want
Yeah, November 1st, Croqueta Palooza. You love croquetas, if you love craft beer, you like pastelitos, if you love everything about living in Miami, this is the event for you.
to... And also coming up, you should be having your restaurant open?
Right.
About the same time?
Late August, early September, my restaurant should be open, but I'll be doing some pop-ups. Also, probably going to be doing something in the Umbrella, if you're not familiar with the food hall in South Miami. We're going to be doing pop-up with my fritas, which are called El Hijo de la Gran Frita, and we'll probably doing them there.
I love it.
Okay. So thanks for having us here. We definitely, if you have not been here, please come out, check this out. It's at the Magic City Casino. You can't miss it. I'm Dave, the Big Librarian.
Jose.
It's Tony.
Alex, the King of Alapata.
And BB from beautiful Westchester.
All right. Good night. Cheers.
Cheers. Winchester Country Roads.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Beer Bros and BS. Cheers.
Beer Bros.
Beer Bros.
Beer Bros.